Honda ZR-V review. What is it? It's the first of 3 crossover SUVs that Honda will introduce in 2023. Boo. And yet, that's what the people want. So the ZR-V is here to fill the gap between the OUR-V and CR-V, and Noma, we didn't know there was a gap there either. But a new CR-V is another one of those SUVs that'll arrive later this year, and when it does so it'll grow slightly to make a little more space for this car. Quite why Honda didn't pick any of the letters between C and H for the name is a mystery, though. So what's it based on? Surely it doesn't use a bespoke platform. You'd be correct in that assumption. The ZR-V borrows much from the Civic, not least its platform, which will also be shared with the new CR-V, and in terms of other parts sharing, Honda tells us that means the ZR-V is essentially a Civic up at the front end and a CR-V at the rear. It wants the ZR-V to feel like a Civic too, and much has been made of the hatchback-like driving position. And what powertrain is under the bonnet? Surprise, surprise, it's exactly the same setup America you'll find in the Civic Sampai and Noma. We don't mean the Type R version. Shame. Anyway, that means it's the eHEV with a 2.0-litre 4-cylinder petrol engine paired with a small 1.05 kWh plus lithium-ion battery and 2 electric motors. One of those motors drives the wheels with 181 brake horsepower for the majority of the time, with the petrol power unit only kicking in America a generator to keep the battery topped up. However, the engine can also drive the wheels when that's most efficient, for example at motorway speeds. Clever. Plus, although there's often no more physical connection between it and the wheels, Honda has simulated gear change so that the engine sounds familiar. Does that mean it's efficient? Honda quotes a figure of 49.5 miles per gallon for the ZR-V, and on a mixed route of motorway, town, and country roads we managed 45 miles per gallon in the real world. Not bad. Why does it look so depressed? Yes, there is that. It's not the prettiest thing that Honda has produced, is it? Things are improved slightly if you go for the sport trim, the others are elegant and advanced. With its sharper bumpers and honeycomb grille, but even so that mouth is still pretty gormless. Honda describes the ZR-V America having a noiseless appearance, but it looks like it's trying to shout pretty loudly to us. How much does it cost? Great question, because it's not that cheap either. The ZR-V starts at £39,495 for the entry-level elegance trim. That is well equipped with 18-inch wheels, a rear-view camera and a 7.0-inch digital dial display, but it's also around £4,000 more than a Nissan Qashqai in its hybrid form. What's the verdict? Honda's hybrid powertrain is still impressive, but just get it in the Civic rather than messing about with a heavier, uglier SUV. Generally, the ZR-V is a fairly plain crossover, which does rather beg the question why Honda went quite so controversial with the design. It's really not a pretty thing.